Hello and good evening to all of you. I missed you last week. I was actually taking some time off with some friends from Italy actually that flew all the way to the coast of Massachusetts in an undisclosed location. We don't want to share what it is. We've been going there for a few years and we just meet and we spend some time together fishing. We're avid fly fishermen, so on the coast of Massachusetts at nighttime we target striped bass or rockfish. We had a great time. I did ship a little bit of wine to a friend that lives up there, and so we had the Barbuzil wine along a lot of beautiful fillet of striper that we cook at the house. And I have to say the winner was for pairing was Vermentino. So anyway, just to disclose what the preference was, it was not the only wine we had. The only wine we had there. Another thing we're going to talk about today, we haven't been in the vineyard for I believe 3 weeks, and things really happen very, very fast during this time of year. Is when the vines really show a lot of energy. They have a very, very incredible growth. Like look at this shoot of Vermentino from here going all the way down to the vine. Is actually the way it is positioned. It was missed by the edger that cuts anything that exposed to the sides and the top, and this shoot being in this direction, it was missed by the hair trimming. But in particular today we're going to look at some vines and very closely to some clusters in different varieties. We remember we went through bloom a few weeks ago. At the beginning of bloom we had a period of nice dry weather, and then other variety bloomed later. The first one to bloom is Chardonnay and Pinot Grigio. The last one is Cabernet Sauvignon. And so according to the amount of rain that came in this span of 4 weeks, the pollination was more or less successful. And before I start pointing to you specific varieties and show you how they performed, we're waiting for Fernando, Franco. He's going to come up and join us here, and I'm going to let him show us a few varieties and how they dealt through it. And I'll have a few more comments also about relating how we prune, in keeping in mind that we have frost threats in Virginia like many other places, and also we have a threat of rain during bloom. So we will justify how we prune, and you will understand what's the end game for us while we do that. Yeah, so here I am with Fernando, and we are right in the separation between Vermentino on this side, and then here is the Cabernet Franc. They bloom somewhat in a similar time, although Vermentino is also more susceptible to the weather that was present during the bloom. Like, I'll let Fernando tell you a little bit about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, I'd like you to explain how we plan for the season from pruning, and then how we get through the different threats of different weather conditions.
Yeah.
Including wildlife and so on. So from pruning.
Yeah, from pruning, I mean, you know, we basically, we select what's best for the first get on. You know, we always take the second year wood is the one that have to go, and the only wood that produces, the only wood that we keep is the 1 year old wood. At that point, we need to count how many buds we leave per can. This one has traditionally about 6 buds. We call buds these internal separations. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then this is about 10. So when you think about that, each one will produce at least 2 clusters per bud. So we ended up with about 20 clusters, which will be the ideal part. But then we have to think about frost. You know, can we lose 1 or 2 buds during frost, which this year, around the 28th of March, we got very cold. We got down to 20 degrees, and that did a little bit of damage on the buds that were just starting to swell. And then we come into bloom time. So when it comes to bloom time is basically, very importantly, more affected by temperature and humidity. So if the weather is perfect, if we have 75 degrees and beautiful dry weather, that's perfect for bloom. But Virginia is that way, that we always prepare for the worst and hope for the best. And that's what was going on this time during bloom time. During May, when these guys were ready to bloom, we got into a 95 degrees period, and we got into a very wet period too at the same time. So you can see the missing spaces on this Vermentino that they did not take during that period, because what happens is that the stomatic fluid that is going to form the embryo gets diluted. So when the pollen tries to get into the pistil, that stomatic fluid gets diluted, so the pollen cannot stick to the pistil. And when that happens, you don't get pollination, because the pollen is not forming the embryo. So
yeah, this is a cluster that for some reason, where it is positioned on the vine, receive more the right concentration of nutrients compared to the one you just saw. And other years, when we have 20 clusters, sometimes 24, and we have the perfect condition for bloom, the cluster gets quite big to the point that we have to intervene and cut some crop down because we have an excess. This year on Vermentino looks like we don't have to move anything. We're going to save a little bit of time, although we will be a bit lower in yield than we would have ideally liked. So the quality is going to be as great as it had been if we had the ideal crop. So for us, it's going to be, in the end, it's going to be a vintage where the cost is higher.
Exactly.
Although we're not a type of business that lives one year for the other.
Yeah.
We're not a commercial enterprise. We are a farm. And farm go through the cyclical events of weather.
Yeah.
And this year, we're thankful that we escaped the frost. We have little damage. Now we are still thankful because we still have a crop. The quality is very good.
Yeah.
An advantage is that when you have these clusters that are very open, the berries don't push against each other. They tend to stay more wholesome. They're less prone to botrytis and diseases. So there are some things you can feel good about it.
Yeah.
On this side, different story with Cabernet Franc. I would say they are slightly light. We lost some, for sure, some berries. Yet I consider them a good.
This one is a good,
maybe 90% take.
It's a good sample where you can see the shad berry that did not develop completely, and that's an effect again from the from bloom. And here you see the ones that really took advantage of the good weather, and it's usually on the shade side. So this is the front of the cluster. This is the back of the cluster where it was shady and probably more wet during the day, that you don't have that full cluster like that. And it's basically, like Luca has said before, it's like having nature helping us to select the best, and it's like natural selection, that we're going to have the best crop, we're going to have the best fruit, and this is actually minimizing a little bit of the work that we need to go and select again clusters here and there. But right now, we're very happy with the way that these clusters are.
And we have 20,000 vines this year. We put in the ground. They will
20
need
more
work,
thousand.
so actually, it frees us some time to take very good care of these vines, and we will still keep our grape whisperers very busy.
Yes.
And let's take a quick look at the Nebbiolo and Pinot Grigio, which they bloomed in the first week, which was perfect weather for bloom.
Yes. Yeah.
I walked through here last night just to refresh after being all day in the office, and it's gorgeous.
Yes,
the take they had, the great clusters are perfect.
Then the Nebbiolo looks beautiful. So, and another thing too, that we don't have as many clusters per vine either.
Exactly.
like we have,
Yeah.
because again that freeze that we have in March.
Yeah. We lost a little
Yeah.
bit on Nebbiolo.
Yeah,
correct?
exactly.
I would say now we have almost what is ideally what we're looking for.
Yes, exactly.
And
yeah. We don't have.
the fish is not in the box yet, like people
Yeah.
say, but it's. I think we have it hooked. It is on the reel,
It's getting there.
and it's halfway in.
Yeah,
So
another
we'll see if we can box it.
another 6 weeks, 8 weeks, and
Yeah,
we
look
can.
at this vine. This is a great example. It's a bit lighter. The crop on this vine is only 5 clusters.
Uh-huh.
You know, one, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is about what we
Which
leave
is exactly
normally.
what we
5
leave
to
normally,
6.
exactly, yeah. And look at the beautiful full cluster.
Great
It
bloom.
was not affected at all by bloom,
Yeah.
because it bloomed before all that hot humid weather. Yeah,
This cluster bloom late.
later.
See, this actually will never ripen.
yeah.
So this is gonna go on the ground when it
Yeah.
comes mid-August, when they turn purple.
Yeah.
This will still be green. We go through and we cut it down. Let's look at Pinot Grigio just down the road. This is a young vineyard we planted 5 years ago.
Yeah.
It's a little, just 1 acre, but I recall that we felt
Oh, and
was the ideal
the
match to have some Pinot Grigio.
the Cabernet Sauvignon is looking beautiful down
As well.
on the other
Nice.
side too. It's beautiful. Yeah, it's a beautiful crop.
So here it is. Lots of cluster on Pinot Grigio. They're very tiny. They're very light.
Very small.
Yeah, look how beautiful.
Yeah.
You can see here how tight already is.
Uh-huh.
As they get bigger, it's gonna be super tight.
It get very tight.
At
yeah.
a point that when we take sample, trying to get some sugar content, and when you pull, they shatter
Yeah.
because
yeah,
they
when
don't
are
like to come
completely
off,
ripe.
and they're very tight. So
Mhm.
you can really appreciate how the weather affects us through the whole season with this information, how each variety can react differently.
Yeah. And since Pinot Grigio is basically the same family than Chardonnay, you know, the Chardonnay also has a beautiful take, and you know, we have plenty of grapes there too. You want to have a quick look at the
Sure,
Cabernet
let's
Sauvignon?
look at that. It's a
Yeah.
young vineyard.
This is a young
Very
vineyard.
promising. In
Yeah.
a very poor soil, actually, that we chose on purpose
Yeah.
4 years ago. This is going to be the 4th year of its life, and we're expecting a full crop and the vines with full potential, with the
Yeah.
with the right amount of foliage to the crop that we are selecting.
Yeah. Yeah. This one we have to probably do a little crop thinning, because this one, since it bloomed after that, it benefit from that you know it didn't.
It was out of that very hot
It was,
period.
yeah, but you know, still we have some.
Still some open
yeah,
clusters here.
yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, which is you know,
can,
I don't mind them at all for Cabernet Sauvignon to have a little nice
yeah.
open clusters like that.
It's not a very big crop due to the size of the cluster that is not very big, and some of the losses through
Yeah.
bloom.
Yeah, this is a good example of the losses from bloom right here. Is you know how open that cluster is going to be, which is fine. You know, I have no issues with that at all. We have plenty of clusters per vine.
More fully formed.
That one is fully formed.
This one down here, it was in a position that was really more in a wet area. Look how much was lost. Yeah. So it's good.
Yep.
We still have a crop. Things
We
are
have a
looking
beautiful
good.
crop of yeah.
We just spoke about having the fish in the box, and like I mentioned, like it's hooked, it's on the reel. It's not in it yet, but why don't we go down at the winery, and I have actually a piece of fish that went in the box. I'll show you what I'll do with it.
Oh, one of the ones. Nice, excellent.
And as I said, we have a fish in the box already. It's one of them that were caught last week. up in Massachusetts. And with this particular piece, what we did, we skinned it, we filleted it immediately, just about a couple hours after we caught it. We then portioned it in pieces about this size, and we cured it for 12 hours with sugar, half salt, overnight. Next day, we rinsed everything, we dried it really well, and then we built a makeshift smoker out of the shipping boxes that we sent over with some wine. We had a small portable serpentine with oak pellets. It was cold smoked at night. At our location, we were in the 50s at night. It smoked for 8 hours, and then we vacuum packed it and froze it. We were able to make quite a few of these pieces, and everybody took some home. The preparation is very simple. We just slice it fairly thin, like so. The seasoning is going to be extremely simple. It's going to be based on extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of salt, pepper, and lemon juice. And salt, I'm probably going to put very, very, very little, because since it has been already cured, it already has its salt from the cure. Just squeeze some lemon. As I said, super simple. We strain the lemon juice. I'm just doing a small amount for this little bit. The rest, actually, I'm going to have tonight at home for dinner. I have some friend coming over. And what we do, we just add some oil here. We do mix it, emulsify it slightly, so it will distribute really evenly. And then all we do is we go over. So I'm going to put just a touch of black pepper. And let me taste a little piece. Actually, it doesn't need any salt. Instead of guessing, it's always better you just test it. So some of the rockfish that we caught and smoked, we consumed as we were in vacation. I brought some Vermentino and some Fiano and some Sauvignon Blanc. And I have to say, I'm sorry for Fiano and Sauvignon Blanc. But this time, Vermentino took the spot as the best, voted by eight fishermen. And so I thought, why not sharing it with you as well? Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.